Good afternoon, all of you. I am Bhumika, Assistant Professor in IIMT University. I thank to Dr. Anuj Mittal sir, Dr. Sachin sir, and today's speaker, Mr. Vishal Chaudhary, organized this seminar. This is our second session of today's seminar. This theme is importance of clinical research and pharmacovigilance. Firstly, I introduce today's honorable speaker, Mr. Vishal Chaudhary. Mr. Vishal Chaudhary have 10-year experience in pharma industry as multiple profile. He have last 6 years has been part of top institute in clinical research, training and placement. Now he's working as Clean India as placement and support in campus Pune, Mumbai and Bangalore, Hyderabad. Now, Mr. Vishal Chaudhary sir, please
Hi, ma'am.
start this seminar.
Sure, ma'am. Could you please make me a host so I can share my presentation?
Okay, sir.
क्या है इनकी आईडी क्या है सर विशाल सर
Yes, sir.
किस नाम से आपने इसमें
Dell. Dell.
डेल के नाम ओके
Okay. Thank you, sir. I got the hosting access. I'm going to share my presentation. Could you please confirm my voice is audible to you and my presentation is visible to everybody?
yes sir you are audible
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sachin, sir, for having the coordination throughout the time and making this event successful. I welcome you and I welcome all the respected dignitaries, principals, and the directors from the college side. And thanks, Bhumika ma'am, for having the introduction. I welcome all the participants for the today's session. And as we all the people know that today's webinar has a really special importance because today we are going to talk about the industry's most booming industry, which is a clinical research and pharmacovigilance. This topic is interesting because there are so many pharma and life science candidates nowadays are planning to start their career in this industry. And it's really important that before we plan our career in this industry, we should have the right information about this industry. So in the today's webinar, we are going to talk about that what exactly the clinical research industry is all about. We are going to talk about the profiles and the domains where you can start your career immediately after completion of your graduation and post-graduation. We are also going to talk about the industries where you can start your career, which are the companies you have. And most important part, what exactly the industry has an expectation from you, what the industry has a criteria when they're selecting any candidate. Nowadays, as far as clinical research and clinical trial is concerned, this concept is known to everybody. We all the people are aware with the clinical research and clinical trial. And why we are aware? Because we are still in the pandemic situation. Start from the first wave of COVID-19, everybody was expecting that some country or some company should find out some robust treatment or some molecule or some vaccine where we can prevent this COVID-19 situation. And start from the first wave itself only, we was coming across with lots of news channels and the newspaper where we normally heard the news that XYZ company was doing phase 2 trial, few company was doing some phase 3 trial. Very soon we will get some new vaccine. With this kind of information, we understood, yes, there is some clinical research and clinical trial happen by which we are getting some new drug or some new vaccine. But being a professional, as we are going to start our career in this industry, it's really important that we should know the exact concept of clinical research. And we also know that where exactly we have to do the clinical trials. Because there are so many candidates and the students are there who are actually thinking that clinical research is just something where we only developing some new molecule or drug. But actually clinical research is not restricted or limited with this information only. Clinical research is basically a very vast domain. And if you go by the definition, then you can understand clinical research is a branch of healthcare science that determines the safety and effectiveness. So these two keywords are very important. We have to determine the safety and effectiveness. Now, who the safety and effectiveness we have to determine? So we have to determine the safety and effectiveness of all those products and the procedure that we're going to use as a treatment purpose on human being. So when we talk about the treatment, it contains your medication, your devices, diagnostic product, treatment regimen, that everything comes under the clinical research. Now, in clinical research, we have to determine the safety and effectiveness. Does it mean that for every single purpose or for every objective, we can start to do the clinical trial? Is it really possible to do that? Then answer is no. We could not do the clinical trial with every single purpose because doing the clinical trial is actually not an easy task. It's basically a time-consuming process. It takes around 4 to 5 years to conduct one clinical trial. But this time, lots of money is involved into the clinical trial. It means that it's expensive as well. But the most important part is that human beings are involved in the clinical trial, and that's the reason it's a very risky as well. That's the reason, being a professional, we should know exactly where we have to do the clinical trial. So let's assume that you are involved in the drug discovery process or you are developing a new drug. Then you definitely have to do the clinical trial because you are investigating a new drug and you definitely should know the safety and efficacy of this new investigational product. Here we are conducting clinical trial, but most of the companies are actually not involved in the new drug discovery. Most of the companies are taking the existing drug or the molecule which is already running in a market. They are taking such kind of a drug or molecule and trying to find out their new uses. We know that there are so many molecules are available which can be utilized for the multiple purpose. For this, if you can take an example of paracetamol, we can understand, being a single molecule, how the paracetamol can be utilized for the multiple purpose. So whatever may be your objective, either you're developing a new drug or you're taking an existing drug and finding out their new uses, in both the cases, we have to conduct the clinical trial. Even for the assessment of medical devices, like your surgical instruments, your bandage, your stain that we put into the heart surgeries, for those assessment also, we have to conduct the clinical trial. Most of the researchers are trying to find out the new drug delivery system. Which route of administration would be the convenient route of administration? Also, where we can maintain the safety and efficacy of the product. To get this information, to do the assessment of a new drug delivery system, we are conducting clinical trial. If you are developing a vaccine, again, we are conducting clinical trial. And also for the assessment of a new surgical procedure, we are conducting clinical trial. Because nowadays, whatever surgeries are there, the new surgical procedure, technologies, instruments are coming in a market, which provides the best benefit to the patients and the society, and by which it's easy to conduct the surgeries as well. So when we're developing any such kind of a new surgical procedure, to do the assessment of this surgical procedures, we are conducting clinical trial, right? I hope you are clear with this a little bit of basic part where we understand the actual concept of clinical research and we understand where exactly we have to do the clinical trial. Fine. Now, moving ahead to the most important part of today's webinar, where we have to understand that which are those core domains are associated with the clinical research industry, where you can start your career immediately after completion of your graduation and post-graduation. Basically, there are the core 4 domains into a clinical research: clinical trial management, clinical data management, pharmacovigilance, and medical writing. Let's understand what happens into each and every domain. So very first and very basic domain is clinical trial management. Now, what happened here? As the name suggests, in a clinical trial management, we have to manage the clinical trial. And how we are going to manage the clinical trial? So we basically conducting the clinical trials in a multiple phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. So when we actually passing our investigational product through all these phases, then eventually we understand whether our product is really safe and effective or not. There are so many professionals who are working under the clinical trial, and the major responsibility on them is to find out the safety and efficacy of the product. At the same time, if we can collect any additional information related to the drug by doing the clinical trial, we're getting it and we are collecting it, right? So there are so many students, even most of you are interested to start your career in core research field or research and development or drug discovery process, then clinical trial management would be the very best career option for you where you can start your career. And which are the initial profiles that you can take? You can start your career by taking a profile like a CRC, Clinical Research Coordinator, or CRA, Clinical Research Associate. These are the profiles are available where you can start your career in clinical trial management. I hope this first concept is clear with you. Now, moving ahead to the second and very important domain again in a clinical research practices, that's a clinical data management. Most of the candidates already know about the data management. Now, as again the name indicates, in a clinical data management, we have to manage the clinical data. And why it is necessary to manage the data? Because your clinical trial is not successfully completed until and unless you are not done with the inspection and audit of your clinical trial, which is very obvious because every process has inspection and audit in the industry. And after that, we can say that whether we have successfully completed this procedure or not. So to make this inspection and audit, it's very important for us that we should maintain all this data in a high quality manner. And as per the guideline, that data should be accurate and credible. So we are maintaining the accuracy and the credibility of all this data by using the clinical data management process. While we managing the data by this process, we can actually compile all the data. We can do the statistical evaluation of our clinical trial and can understand whether our clinical trial is really giving the anticipated results or not. So for all this procedure, this clinical data management domain plays a very important role. So anybody of you is interested to start your career in clinical data management, then you can start your career by taking a profile like a data process associate or data analyst, data specialist. These are the profiles are available where you can start your career as a freshers in this domain, right? I hope you're clear with these two concepts, clinical trial management and data management. Now, moving ahead to the third very important domain into the entire healthcare industry, I can say it's a very interesting domain because so many pharma and life science candidates are actually planned to start their career in PV, pharmacovigilance. So what's a pharmacovigilance? It's very easy concept to understand. When you successfully complete your clinical trial and when you come to know that your product is giving the best safety and efficacy results, what would be the next step that you will follow or you will take? The next step would be that you will try to launch your product in a market as soon as possible. Every company has the same objective, and on this objective only, the company has conducted clinical trial. So one day we will launch our product in a market and we can start to generate the revenue and start to develop the business out of it. And every company wants that their product should be in a market for a longer period of a time. So it means that if you really wanted to keep your product for a longer period of a time in a market, you will try to sustain your product in a market. But if you really wanted to sustain your product in a market for a longer period of a time, it's your responsibility that you have to give the safety and efficacy related information in the form of report. You have to submit it to the ethics committee or regulatory agency, where you can prove that your product is still giving the best safety and efficacy results and you want to keep your product for a further period of a time. But if you just understand the situation, then you can come to know that how we can make it possible. Because when you launch your product in a market, the mass population is starting to consume your product. And this situation is not in your control. So how you can understand the safety and efficacy of this product? How you can get to know that which person from which corner of the world is consuming your product and what kind of a reaction he or she is getting, right? So to do these things, the pharmacovigilance department plays a very important role. Pharmacovigilance department actually collects the information related to the drug activity which is happening in a market. What's a drug activity happening in a market? It means that how your drug is acting in a market. Whether your drug is giving the best safety and efficacy results in a market, or is there any adverse reaction, adverse event, serious adverse reaction, or any suspected, unexpected serious adverse reaction associated with your product in the market. If your drug is showing any such kind of reaction, then pharmacovigilance department actually collects this information. After collection, PV department do the detection. Detection, it means to find out that which exactly the reaction drug is showing in a market. Do the assessment. Assessment, it means to find out that who is responsible for this reaction. Whether the only drug is responsible for these reactions or is there any another external factors are associated with it. And the most important work of pharmacovigilance, that's monitoring. Monitoring, it means to keep the continuously watch on a market activity, whether such kind of a single incidences happen or is there any multiple incidences are happening in a market. If a drug is showing any such kind of reaction or any such kind of incidences are happening in a market, then how we can prevent these things or how we can tackle this situation. Such information in the form of report, pharmacovigilance department submits to the sponsor company or to the ethics committee. Now, based on all this report, we have to take a decision whether we are going to keep our product in a market for a further time or further years, 2 or 5 years, because there is a timelines are there. Okay, on that timelines, you have to give that safety and efficacy reports, or whether we have to change our molecule if the molecule is not giving the base safety and efficacy results, or whether we have to remove our product from the market if there is no use of the product keeping in a market. So based on that, we are taking all the decisions. Fine. I hope you are clear with this PV concept. Now, anybody of you is interested to start your career in the pharmacovigilance, then you can start your career by taking a profile like a drug safety associate or the pharmacovigilance scientist. These are the profiles that are available where you can start your career into a PV domain, right? I hope you understood this concept and you're quite interested to start your career in these domains as well. Now, moving ahead to the last and very important domain into clinical research, that is a medical writing. Being a pharma and life science students, it will be very easy for you to understand what's medical writing. Because on a daily basis or a regular basis, we are coming across with lots of such content and information which gives the medical and scientific knowledge. It can be anything that you're reading. You might be reading any scientific published paper, any article, any journal, any blog, any book, which gives you the medical or scientific knowledge. We can assume that content or information may be drafted by, designed by, or written by a or scientific writer. In fact, when you successfully complete your clinical trial, after successfully completion of a clinical trial, you will definitely try to publish your study. You will definitely try to communicate the research that you have done to the different communities and to the audience. So if you really wanted to publish your study, or if you really wanted to communicate about your clinical trial, you have to develop a very short and very crisp content ready. It's not possible that whatever research you have done and whatever data that you have generated throughout the clinical trial, you can keep all the data in front of somebody and ask them that whatever information you required, you can find out from this data or you can collect from this data. It's not possible. Out of all this data and the information that we have to select the information, we have to collect the information, and we have to develop a very short and very crisp content ready. So we can publish it by publishing a scientific published paper, any article, any journal, anywhere we can put and we can publish our clinical trial and we can communicate the study. So it will be easy to publish, it will be easy to read by the audience and get the information about our clinical trial. But we are not actually expert into that. And that's the reason we have to take a help of medical and scientific writer. They can develop the content for us and then we can publish. Even during the clinical trial, before starting the clinical trial, we have to submit some essential document to the ethics committee or regulatory agencies where they can give the approval and then we can start the career. This all the essential document contains lots of documents like protocol, informed consent form, case report form. There is a list of a document. So the medical writing is responsible to develop these documents as well. For all this purpose, this medical writing domain plays a very important role. So your qualification is highly eligible for this profile, and that's the reason you can definitely plan to start your career in this industry, right? I hope you are clear with these 4 domains: clinical trial management, data management, pharmacovigilance, and medical writing. Apart from these 4 domains, you can start your career into the medical coding, medical transcription, business, regulatory affair, business analyst. These are the different profiles are available where you can start your career in clinical research, right? Now, moving ahead to the most important part of today's webinar, where we have to understand that why we have organized this webinar and why we are discussing these things. See, we all the people know that every year there are so many changes are happening in the industry. If we talk about the current clinical research industry, why it's a very booming industry nowadays, because there are lots of different domains and natures are involved into a clinical research. And with this, the different industries are also associated with the clinical research. And whatever these changes are happening, obviously the pharma and life science candidate has a definitely good career opportunities and lots of placement opportunities are there in this industry. But there are so many candidates who don't have this information or who are not aware with this information. And because they don't have this information, still in a 2021, where the clinical research market is so huge, there are so many candidates who are actually planning to start their career based on the traditional information. It means most of the candidates still assume that they can only start their career in a QA, QC, production, formulation, R&D, F&D, regulatory affair, or medical representative, or can open the medical shop. But actually here, the entire clinical research industry is vacant for you. Along with your qualification, if you have good technical knowledge, you can definitely take a good placements in this industry. And to have this information, we have organized the today's webinar. In fact, there are so many candidates who are not aware that in which industry they can take up placements. Most of the candidates still only know that only the pharmaceutical industries or the biotech industry or the multi-specialty hospital, these are only the other industry options available for them where they can start their career. But I would like to tell you, if you're qualified enough and if you have a good technical knowledge, then this all the industries and the companies are available for you where you can start your career. And I know that you have this information. You know that you can start your career in IT companies. IT companies like a TCS, Cognizant, Accenture, WNS, Mahindra, and Wipro, these are the top IT companies are nowadays handling the healthcare project. And to manage their healthcare project, they require the pharma and life science candidate. Along with the IT company, you can start your career into the contract research organization. This industry is known as a CRO, and CRO is the world's top industry who recruits the highest number of a pharma and life science candidate. I hope that you have heard this concept earlier about the CRO. Now, why this industry has so many requirements for the pharma and life science candidate? Because the contract research organization has the specialty that they can handle the end-to-end tasks related to the clinical trial. They can do the clinical trial, can manage the data, do the pharmacovigilance, medical writing, regulatory affairs, all the process they have. And that's the reason they have a huge requirement for the pharma and life science candidate. If you know the CRO concept, then it's very well. If not, then at least you may have heard few company names which are in CRO. The companies like IQVIA, the companies like Syneos, PPD, Paraxel, Icon, Covance, these are the top contract research organizations out there. And the good part is that all these organizations and the company has active operations in India. And that's why in the Indian market, you will find out the huge requirement for the pharma and life science candidate. And believe me, if you got an opportunity to start your career in any of this company, then for the entire life, you don't have to struggle for the career because that kind of a reputation this company has and that kind of a salary this company offers. Apart from this industry, you can start your career in pharma and biotech industry that you already know. Also, you can start your career into the multi-specialty hospitals, okay, where the clinical trials are going on. You can take a profile like a CRC or CRA and start your career. Also, the medical communication firm, this industry is available for you. Medical communication firm, this industry is basically a responsible or work for the pharmaceutical company by developing the medical and scientific content, and they provide it to the pharmaceutical company. So pharmaceutical company can promote their product in the market very well or can launch their product in the market. So they require the input and they require the help. So the medical communication firms help them to develop the medical and scientific content or input for them, right? You also can start your career in this industry. And also in the research center and institutes like Reliance Data Research Center. There are multiple institutions, research centers, R&D setups out there where continuously the research is going on and you can take a placement out there as a research fellow and start your career, right? So I believe that so far you are clear with all the concepts related to the industry, related to the domain and the profile, where you can start your career immediately after completion of your graduation and post-graduation. And so far you also understand that whatever may be the situation in market, for pharma and life science candidate, there is a definitely 100% placement opportunities out there in the clinical research industry. But now, if you really think that this industry is really interesting and giving the very good career prospect, having the good career opportunities, and you want to start your career in this industry, then the one question you definitely have to ask for yourself that why this industry will hire you? Because that is a question we definitely have to ask. Okay, what I have that the industry will think that I'm fitting all the criteria and all the expectations and industry will entertain my profile. If you think that you're completing your graduation and post-graduation and your qualification is eligible for this profile in this industry, and that's why the industry should hire you, then it is not going to be happening. Why? Because like you, there are around 15 to 20 lakh pass out candidates coming every year in the market. And it's not only about the pharma and life science candidate. The education background like a B Pharma, M Pharma, BSc, MSc with the different streams, biotech, nursing background, medical background candidate. Okay, all the streams, all the education background candidates are eligible to take a placements here. Now, neither the company has that much of a requirement, nor the company has a time to take the interviews or the round of interviews of all these 15 to 20 lakh pass out candidates. And that's the reason, out of the qualification, in every sector nowadays, every company who is top to bottom, all the organizations has a different expectations, has some extra expectations, or they have their own criteria where they are going to select the candidate. And if you're really fulfilling this all the criteria, or if you're really fulfilling that all the expectation, then it's probably possible that the industry will entertain your profile, then they will take your interview, and then you will may get the good career opportunities with the good salaries in the industry. And nowadays, what are those criteria are? Nowadays, every company is expecting that candidates should have a good technical knowledge. Candidates should have a good domain-specific knowledge. Candidates should have a good communication skills, presentation skills. They should crack the aptitude round. They should have a good professional attitude. And that's the reason nowadays all the colleges and universities are started this initiative that develop their student a professional ready, right? And how the industry will get the proof that you are really a technically sound and you have a domain specific knowledge, then the only one option left to you that you should be a certified candidate. You should first have to complete your specialization. And it's everywhere in any sector, IT sector, mechanical, agriculture, any sector you can take in every industry nowadays, along with the qualification, the companies are expecting the extra certification, extra specialization. So all you candidate, you have to keep in mind that after completion of your graduation or post-graduation, or when you are in the final year of your graduation and post-graduation, simultaneously start your technical certification. So you can complete your training on time and you can immediately take a placement after completion of your final examination. So whatever this expectation the company has and what exactly the expectation of a student has from the company, keeping all these expectations in mind, Clean India, which is a 12-year-old institute, which has an ISO certification and has a SAS authorized training partner. Okay, Clean India is providing you the professional degree training and placement program by online live mode in a clinical research and pharmacovigilance. There are certain importance and the advantage of this certification program. That's the reason everybody should have to pursue this certification. The first thing is that these certifications are a industry-oriented certification program. It means that what exactly the industry has expectation, what the industry is expecting from any certification, that all the training, that all the parties covered under the single certification program, which offered by the Clean India. It's a professional degree program. It means that you're currently a student, and to develop you from the student to a professional, whatever the technical and non-technical skills and the training is required, you will get everything under this certification program. You don't have to do anything extra apart from this certification. When we talk about the technical training, it contains your clinical trial management, data management, pharmacovigilance, medical writing. All core 4 domains training you will get in a single program. Along with that, equally important, your non-technical section, which contains your communication skills, presentation skills, aptitude preparation, computer skills, mock interviews, that everything will be happen in the non-technical part. And because it's a professional degree program, you don't require any experience or internship in an industry. You can directly complete this training program, certification program, and directly take the placements into the industry. That's the very first and very biggest advantage of this training program. The second advantage of this training program is that institute offering you the training and placement program. It means the training will be provided by the institute to you, and also the placement assistance will be provided by the institute to you itself only. So everything will be taken care by the institute. Then what you have to do? So you just have to do one thing, that you have to enroll for the training and you have to focus in the training program. Because it's true that every certified candidate will get the placements into the industry, but everybody will not get the same package. The package is totally depend that how you have cracked the interview. If you give the best interview, then you will get the best package. And if you want to crack, or if you want to give the best interview, then you definitely have to develop yourself. Definitely you have to focus in the training where you can develop yourself and you can prepare to crack the interview in the top industry, right? On a time, the training and the placement will be provided by the institute to you. You just focus in the training. And the last and the most big advantage of this training program is that whatever discussing we are right now, that everything you will get by the online live mode. Now, previously the candidate has to complete their education, then they are finding out the institute, then they're going to that city, that they are relocating for 4 months or whatever the period this training program has, they have to spend over there. Nowadays, you don't have to do anything such like this. And that's the reason you are actually saving a lots of money in this training. You can do all this training by the virtual mode, by live online mode. All the sessions, all the training will be provided to you by online. By sitting at home, connecting on a mobile and laptop, you can complete this entire training without relocating anywhere, without spending a huge money. And even you don't have to disturb your daily schedule. Either you're doing the college or you're doing your practicals, whatever you're doing, you can do all these daily activities and you have to just spend some time for this certification program at evening and you can complete this training program. And it's not only about the training. Nowadays in a pandemic situation, all the industries are taking the online interviews. So when it comes to the placement part, nowadays you can give the all the round of interviews by online live mode, by connecting with the mobile and laptop. And the most interesting part is that if you get selected, then the companies are giving you the work from home option. It means that your laptop and all the accessories will be provided to you at your home and you can start your work from home itself only. Even for the joining purpose, you don't have to go to any city or any company till the pandemic situation is there. So this situation or this discussion looks unbelievable, but yes, this is the current situation. Start from the COVID-19, so many candidates have taken advantage of this online training and get placed into the industry without wasting a much time and without wasting a much of money. And that is the very convenient option for all the final year going students and the candidates who are already passed out for them to start their certification immediately. Because it never happened in the history of any pharma and life science candidate that they will get a such kind of a easiest and the comfortable option where they can complete the training and get placed into the industry. But you have this situation, you have these golden opportunities in your hand, don't miss this time, right? So I believe that whatever the discussion I have done today with you, it will definitely help you out to make your good career plans or good career decisions. But still, if you have any kind of a questions or any kind of a doubt, I'm here. You can please ask me into the chat box or you can unmute your mic and you can discuss with me. I will try to give the satisfied answers of your question. So as far as today's webinar is concerned, that's all from my side, my dear friends. I believe that you are happy with the discussion. We are open with the question answering session. So thank you very much.
If anybody have any query, any question, then please leave your message in comment box. Any faculty member or any student.
Sir, are the students are connected here because I can only see the 7 people are in the meeting. So how they can ask the questions?
Okay.
Or are you taking the questions and you're going to ask?
No, 16 people are watching this now.
Okay. So you are on live, on which mode you are live? You are on YouTube live or Facebook live?
Yes, YouTube live.
Okay, okay. So sir, I think probably you have to pick the questions from the YouTube and you have to ask me because the students are not directly connected with you.
Okay, sir. If anybody have any question, then please leave a message in comment box.
Oh, hi, Deepti, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Right. Deepti, can you please share the feedback link to the sir so sir can put this feedback link into the YouTube live and they can
Yes, yes, sir. Already shared to the
right,
Sachin.
right. Thank you.
Yes, she already sent to me. Thank you, sir. Respected and honorable speaker, Mr. Vishal Chaudhary, you have delivered a very wonderful session on the topic of importance of profession-ready training in clinical research and pharmacovigilance. On behalf of IIMT University, I, Dr. Sachin Kumar, Head of the Department, IIMT, College of Medical Science, would like to thank our respected speaker for making an excellent presentation and making this session a very meaningful and interested. I would like to express our deep gratitude to our Dean Sir, Dr. Anuj Mittal Sir, for his presence and guidance to conduct this seminar. I also thank to our faculty member and students who actively participate in this session and hearing sincerely hold the session. So I thanks to Mr. Vishal Chaudhary and Dipti ma'am for this wonderful presentation. And I hope our student definitely benefited through this session. Thank you, sir. And I request to our students, please fill the feedback form which is on your WhatsApp group. Please fill it. Thank you, Vishal sir and Dipti ma'am.
Thank you,
Are you
sir.
there?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thanks for giving this
Thank you.
opportunity, and I hope this discussion will be helpful to your students. If there is any further questions and all the things, you can fill in, write into the chat box as well, or you can call anytime to the Clean India. We will definitely help you out for that. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.